Okay, let's dive right into this. Get ready to experience the Leapmotor B05, a car that completely defies expectations. On the surface, this electric hatchback looks fairly conventional, but as we're going to see in this explainer, it is hiding a massive engineering secret. It's kind of a provocative question, isn't it? When you walk up to the B05, it really just looks like a typical, handsome family hatchback. Honestly, you might even mistake its proportions for a VW Golf. But what sits beneath the floorboards of this car is a literal engineering marvel. We're going to unpack exactly how a car built for the budget market is pulling off structural techniques that you usually only see in the absolute upper echelon of automotive engineering.
First up, defying EV price expectations.
To truly understand why this engineering matters so much, we have to look at the market context. The B05 is stepping into a seriously competitive arena, squaring up against popular models like the MG4 and the Kia EV4. And the price? It's just £28,995 in the UK or €26,900 in Europe. That is aggressively priced. Usually, an EV price this low means you're accepting major compromises, a harsh ride, excessive weight, or a cramped interior. But the B05 absolutely shatters that stereotype. Which brings us to the core of the car, the cell-to-chassis secret. What truly sets it apart is its cutting-edge cell-to-chassis or CTC technology. In a traditional EV platform, the battery is essentially just a heavy box bolted onto the bottom of the car's frame. But here, instead of simply mounting the battery onto the frame, the battery is seamlessly integrated into the vehicle's structure. This is a remarkably sophisticated engineering choice, and frankly, finding this level of advanced integration in a car at this price point is highly unusual. Think of this CTC 2.0 Plus architecture as the Trojan horse of the B05. By making the battery part of the floor itself, they shed weight, open up the passenger space, and get this, they boost the volumetric energy density by a massive 13%. That means far more power crammed into less space. It's the hidden trick that makes its huge cabin and incredibly low center of gravity possible. And this is where it gets wild. Look at this number, 34,500 Newton meters per degree of torsional rigidity. That is a massive figure. That's the kind of structural stiffness you associate with high-end luxury or performance cars, not budget hatchbacks. Because nearly 78% of the structure uses high-strength steel integrated right with the battery, the car is incredibly stiff. That strength is directly responsible for the car's impressive safety and its razor-sharp handling. So how does that feel on the road? Let's talk premium European driving dynamics. A stiff chassis is really only as good as the suspension bolted to it, and Leapmotor pulled a total masterstroke here. They co-developed the B05 setup with Stellantis' global chassis team, literally the same engineers who tune cars for Maserati and Alfa Romeo. Reviewers at Car Expert hit the nail on the head. They noted the B05 entirely avoids that soft, wafty ride you sometimes get with vehicles tuned just for the Chinese market. It doesn't crash or thump, it absorbs broken European roads and cobblestone streets beautifully. The hardware making that happen is seriously impressive. You're looking at a near-perfect 50-50 weight distribution, rear-wheel drive for natural balance, a sophisticated multi-link rear suspension, and McPherson front struts. Again, remind yourself of that budget price tag we looked at earlier. The narrative here is impossible to ignore. This car just continually defies expectations with a mechanical layout straight out of a premium driver's car. Moving inside, we find a high-tech, minimalist cabin. Thanks to that cell-to-chassis architecture saving so much space, the B05 has class-leading rear shoulder room and a totally flat floor. It's a sleek, calming, distinctly minimalist vibe in there. The whole thing is dominated by a 14.6-inch HD touchscreen running Leap OS 4.0 Plus. It's powered by a fast Snapdragon chip, so it honestly feels just like using a high-end smartphone. You're surrounded by premium touches too, like frameless doors and a huge panoramic sunroof. Now, to be totally fair, there is one slight compromise for all that passenger room. The boot space is a bit smaller than its rivals, sitting at 345 liters.
But it's not all perfect. We do need to cover the ADAS beeping problem.
To keep this explainer completely grounded, we have to look at the biggest critique coming from reviewers, and it's all about the software, specifically the Hyperactive Advanced Driver Assistance Systems, or ADAS. This quote captures it perfectly. If it could win an award for beeping, it absolutely would. While it's amazing that Leapmotor includes 21 standard safety features and 14 sensors, driving with them can be exhausting. Reviewers mention constant bongs, warnings, and aggressive lane-keeping tugs at the wheel. And because the cabin is so minimalist, you're forced to dig through multiple touchscreen menus just to turn these hyperactive systems off. So what we are looking at is a new benchmark for value. Bringing all these threads together, the advanced cell-to-chassis engineering, the premium Stellantis suspension, the spacious, tech-heavy interior, and yeah, some overeager software quirks, the value proposition here is just staggering. A 300-mile WLTP range is highly competitive, and the ability to DC fast charge from 10 to 80% in just 24 minutes at 174 kilowatts, that makes this a totally viable primary vehicle for real road trips. Plus, with a 215 horsepower rear motor pushing you from 0 to 62 in 6.7 seconds, it has more than enough punch for everyday driving. Which leaves us with this final thought. With tech this advanced at this price, are legacy automakers ready for the leap? We've seen how the B05 seamlessly integrates the battery into its very bones, achieving structural rigidity and interior space that totally outclasses its price bracket. When you can get engineering this remarkably sophisticated for under £30,000, how exactly do traditional legacy brands adapt and compete? It's a fascinating shift in the market for sure, and one we will definitely be watching closely. Thanks for joining me for this explainer, and keep learning.